This video is going to explain how the disappearing blocks in Stage 8 Dungeon in Castlevania 4 work. And as a little disclaimer, I have to say, no, I do not have the secret of how to survive them every single time. I do have some more information about their mechanics, though, which might be the first piece of the puzzle of figuring out a way to get through this safely. So up on the screen here, I've got some memory addresses. How it works is that there's 6 blocks, and each block has its own individual timer. Each block has 3 different states. There is a state where the block is solid, a state where the block is disappearing and you can still stand on it, and a state where the block has completely disappeared. So over the top right here, I've got the different addresses. So the one that's up there now, 5E4, that's the timer for the first block. So we'll go ahead and advance the game a little bit here. And for the purposes of this tutorial, I'm just going to be invincible. Don't worry about it. So the timer for the first block is solid right now. And what happens is that as the frames go by, the timer's counting down. When it hits 0, the timer's going to shift over to a count of 32. And it's going to start flashing. Beginning now. So the block is going to start flashing. When the timer hits 0, the block will be completely disappeared. So now it's going to disappear. Now here's where it gets frustrating. The block is going to reappear. The block is going to be gone, and how long it's going to be gone for, that first block, is going to be completely random. So we'll check it out. So the timer is at 86, so the block is going to be gone for 86 frames. And it just flips in 32, and then it's going to reappear for a random number of frames. So now it's 110. So we go down to 0. And it's going to start disappearing for 32 frames. And then it's going to disappear. Now last time it disappeared, it was gone for 86 frames. This time it's 72. So it is random. So how long the block stays around for is random. The 32 disappearing count is set, and then how long they disappear for is completely random. And each block, there's 6 in total, each has its own timer. And they're completely independent of each other, and the timers are determined by the RNG. As far as manipulation goes, or as far as if we did try to manipulate this, not that I know how to right now, but if we did, the blocks are the timer is loaded at a certain spot. So I'll show you when that is. So if we start going forward, the timers for each of the blocks are at 0 right now, and that means that the block timer hasn't loaded yet. When I reach a certain point, what's going to happen is that you'll see the address at 5E4, and it's going to start at a certain number. So we go forward a little bit, and so the timer here is going to be 69. So although I can't see it yet, the block is going to be on screen for 69 frames. So if I move forward a little bit, it's going to be solid right now. And then in 1 frame, it's going to start to disappear. Like so. And if we do the same thing, so the timer is at 68. So if I sit here for a little while, and then I start to move forward, by the time I get to see the block, it's going to be gone. The magic of seeing those RAM addresses. So if we did try to manipulate this somehow, it would require us to be able to reverse engineer the game's random number generator, which, obviously we haven't done yet, but If we were going to do it, we'd have to know we'd have to do the manipulation at some point when the block spawns. So we'd keep track of when each block spawns. So the first block, the timer is there. And then look at address 864 for the timer for the second block to be set. The timer for the second block is set just around this candle here. So it's right there is when the timer for the second block is set. So each of these blocks, when the timer's first set, they start out solid. They have a random timer that's determined by the RNG, and then they count down, and then we'll start to fade away. And then as we go a little bit further forward, we'll have the third one shortly. So that's where the third one is set. As we walk a little bit further toward the end. Fourth one is set at this point. And then as we go a little bit further forward, the fifth one is set just before we land on the first disappearing platform. And the sixth one is set once you're on the platform. So by the time you reach this point, all of the block timers have been set in motion. It's a bit tricky because we don't know how to manipulate it. Now, I'm going to cheat a little bit, and I'm going to go ahead and freeze the game's random number generator. As far as the different timers you can get, the highest timer, I believe, is 127. So if I freeze it on that, and then go forward, the timer is so long I can actually just literally walk past them all. Got a little snag there. Without stopping. The shortest that the timer can be is 64. That's frames. So it can be as short as 1 second until they start to disappear, and it can be as long as 2 seconds until they start to disappear. And because Simon doesn't stay in the air for very long when he jumps, this is still going to be a bit of a pain. So this is just the first piece of the puzzle. If we can reverse engineer the game's random number generator, we might be able to come up with something, but so far it's not looking very good. So yeah, thanks for watching.